And these notes should not take very long. Guys, when you get out of this Zoom, go and do your work. I have multiple people in a Zoom and there's no work being turned in. I have like 15 of you failing because you're not doing your work. You're not doing your tests. Start with your tests to get those made up first. You'll see your grade go up tons. Get the tests finished. Get them finished. All right. So we're going to start with midpoint today. You did distance yesterday. Maybe a third of you turned in that homework. If you're sitting in this class and you're not turning in homework, I'm going to start writing you up. Are we clear? This is not playtime. This is not sit here and play on your phone. This is do your work. And if you need help, ask. Got it? Same thing when A days come back. You don't do anything, you don't get to sit in here. Okay? We're going to find the midpoint, and it's really simple. This is your equation. To find the x coordinate of your midpoint, you add your x's and divide by 2. To find your midpoint y coordinate, you add your y's and divide by 2. Here's your coordinate, your x's and your y's. So to find your midpoint x, you take both x's, our x's are 1 and 6, and you add them up and divide them by 2. We get 7 over 2. That will not reduce. Leave it just like it is. I do not want you to give me the decimal. Leave it just like that. To get your y coordinate, you take your y's. Our y's are -9 and -8, and we're going to add them together and divide by 2. -9 plus -8 is -17 over 2, which will not reduce. So your midpoint answer, you should write it as a coordinate. Your x was 7/2. Your y was 17 over 2. Okay. Look at number 2. What are your 2 x's? We're going to add those up and divide them by 2. What is 2 plus -3? One more time. What is 2 plus -3? -1. That will not reduce. That's the first part of your answer. -1/2 is your x coordinate. What are your 2 y's? Thank you. -6 plus 8, and we're going to divide it by 2. What is -6 plus 8? This will reduce. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So your coordinate is -1/2, 1. That's all you're doing. There's a whole unit. That's it. Okay. All right, look at number 4. If it helps you to write x and y, that's perfectly fine. If you don't need it, you don't have to. What are your 2 x's? X's on number 4? -1 and -9 divided by 2. Zoomers, -1 plus -9.
8.
Try again.
-8.
Try again.
-10.
-10, good. Over 2. When we simplify that, we get -5. That's your first part of your answer. What are your 2 y's? -2 plus 4. We're going to divide that by 2. What is -2 plus 4? And 2 over 2 reduces to 1. So your midpoint is -5, 1. We'll get number 6. What are your 2 x's? So we're going to add those. -2 plus -5. We're going to divide them by 2. What is -2 plus -5? That will not reduce. Leave it alone. -7/2. What are your two x's? 10 and -3. We're going to divide it by 2. 10 plus -3. Will not reduce. So that's your y coordinate. Oh, sorry. Number 8. Number 8. What are your two x's? We're going to divide that by 2. Add them, divide by 2. 7 plus -2. Try again. +5/2. Will not reduce. That's the first part of your midpoint. Your two x's, be careful on this. 3 plus -3 divided by 2. What is 3 plus -3? What is 0 divided by 2? It is 0. There's your midpoint. One more of these and then we'll move to our graph. What are your two x's? We're going to divide that by 2. -4 plus -9 is -13. That will not reduce. So you leave it alone. Then our y's are 0 plus 10 divided by 2 is 10 divided by 2 or 5. Perfect. That's it. All right. So if they give you a graph, all you have to do is figure out your coordinates. You're going to use these as endpoints. I don't really like this section, but we're going to show you how to do it. So use it as endpoints. What is this coordinate right here? We're going to make it a perfect coordinate. And this one down here is perfect. It's not going to be quite right because these are not the for real points, okay? So just do with those points. What are your two x's? Which is 0 divided by 2 or 0. And then you have 5 and -5 divided by 2, which is 0/2. So your midpoint, if those were your actual coordinates, would be 0, 0. But this one's a little off. It's not perfectly 1, 5. Okay. Again, I don't like these graphs because they're not perfect. All right, we're going to flip over. And I'm not worried about the graph. I'm going to go down to this section right here. This is the section that is most missed on the test. Okay. Remember your formulas. Add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. All right, but the thing is, it gives you an end point and a midpoint, and it wants to know the other end point. So if we were looking at this graph, it's giving you like this point, and then your midpoint, and you got to figure out this point. That makes sense? All right, so here's how I teach it. I will show you by this formula first. It sucks, okay? It's really crappy to do that way. So I'll show you a different way, all right? So the midpoint formula says the midpoint x. So this is the end point. It stays x, y. This is the midpoint x and the midpoint y. And that's what we're going to plug into our formula. So our first formula says the midpoint x is x plus x divided by 2. What is your midpoint x coordinate? 3. What is your only other x coordinate you have? We don't have our second x coordinate, and then we're dividing by 2. Go back to unit 1. We're solving for x. What's on the same side but not with it? What's on the same side as x but not with it?
-7.
Nope, it's with it in the denominator, I mean in the numerator. The 2, the divide 2. How do I get rid of divide 2? Multiply 2. I get 6 equals -7 plus x. How do I get that 7 to the other side? How do I get the 7 to the other side?
Add 7.
Thank you. I get 13 equals x. That's the x coordinate of your other endpoint. You're going to do the same thing with your y. Remember, I told you this is the sucky way to do it, right? I will teach you a better way in just a minute. Just at least answer my questions. We still have to solve equations all the time. All right? Our midpoint y equals our 2y coordinates divided by 2. But we don't have 2y coordinates. We just have 1. What's our midpoint y? 8. Our other y coordinate is -9. And then we're going to divide by 2. So how do I get rid of that 2? We get 16, that's a times in there, equals -9 plus y. How do I solve? Add 9. What is 16 plus 9? 25. So the other coordinate is going to be 13, 25. That was a lot of work, right? Right? You know how many people are going to do that work? They hardly do the work I give you now, so nobody's going to do this, okay? So I'll show you a different way, but you got to know your number lines, okay? So I showed you distance with number lines, right? Make sure you know your number lines. How do I move from 4 to -4 on a number line? Do I go forwards or backwards from 4 to -4? So that means a minus. I go backwards. How far did I go from +4 to -4? 8. Is everybody good with that? I take that 8 and I put it underneath this 4. What is -4 minus 8? That is your midpoint x or your other endpoint x. So I have to do all this work. I don't have to do all this work. That's all I have to do. So then how do I get from -8 to 7, -7? Up means plus. And they're only one different away from each other. One different away from each other. So that means I'm going to add 1 to -7 because I'm going to do the same thing. So what's -7 plus 1? And that's it. I'm going to show you on the one we did by hand. Okay, show you the one we did by hand. I'm going to do it up here. The really long one that we just did. How do I get from -7 to +3? Plus what? 10. Is everybody okay with that? So I'm going to put a +10 down here. What's 10 plus 3? There's our 13. Does everybody see it? How do I get from -9 to +8? Plus 17. I put that plus 17 right here. And I get my 25. You don't have to do the work by hand, as long as you know number lines. If you don't know number lines, we need to talk, okay? Look at number 20. How far is it from -10 to -5 on a number line? Up 5. So I'm going to put the +5 underneath here. What's -5 plus 5? 0. How do I get from 2 to -3? -5. -3 minus 5 is? Guys, if you have to draw yourself a number line, draw a number line. Okay, not a big deal. All right, let's look at your next one. I'll color code it for you so you can see it a little better. How do you get from 5 to 9?
+4.
Perfect. So I'm going to put the +4 under here. How do you get from -1 to -4? A -3. So I'm going to put that -3 under here. What is 9 plus 4? What is -4 minus 3? That's your coordinate. That's it. All right, I'm gonna go to 21. 21. -10 to -2. I had to go up 8. 0 to -7. -2 plus 8, watch your signs. -2 plus 8. 6. -7 plus -7. Perfect. That's your coordinate. All right, somebody else. 4 to 8.
+4.
+4. Thank you. 5 to 6.
+1.
Perfect. 8 plus 4 is 12. 6 plus 1 is
7.
7. So your coordinate is 12, 7. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We'll do one more. And then I think you're good to go. Yep, let's do one more. How do I get from 5 to 9? How do I get from -8 to 0? What is my coordinate? Try again. 13, 8, good. All right. Guys, you don't go anywhere yet. Don't go anywhere yet.